Hi, everybody. It's Craig and Arun back with your Monday, the 29th of December, last Monday of the year. And let's make it a winning one. Big day here. We got NBA game for all the games for you, 11 games to cover. So we'll do this a little more rapid style than normal as we listen. We know you guys like it in that like 20-minute range. So we'll try to get that. Don't forget, if you want to get on our top plays, huge day for us. So you can get in on the 2-for-1 football pass. All you got to do is use this link right here. We both have 7-unit plays for Monday Night Football. He has the side. I have the total tonight. You get them both included in the 2-for-1 week pass. So not only do you get today, you get Tuesday, Wednesday to finish up the bowl week, and you get all next week and through Wednesday of next week. Any bowl plays, including playoffs, and the NFL as well. DocSports.com/Craig Arun. You get both of us for $99. All right, IC, let's go to the NBA here. Big card, Bucks at the Hornets, and the Bucks big news, of course, Giannis surprised everybody, and early in the morning decided he was going to play it last game against the Bulls. Of course, they won. Bucks favored by 3, total 227.5. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, Giannis looks like he's going to play in this contest as well. Trent Jr. and Prince are the ones that are basically – the Trent Jr. we're not sure about, but Charlotte, has Knuppel and who's out, and James, and who's listed as day-to-day, and Plumlee's listed as out too. Milwaukee sits here 13-19. They come off a nice win against the Bulls, losing to Memphis and then beating the Pacers prior to that. That contest, Giannis was fine. 10 for 15, 29 points. He's made a huge difference. Rollins and Porter and Kuzma all had double digits. And, Miles Turner had 17 points or 13 points, and they got it done. That was a pretty impressive win because the Bulls are pretty deep, as you know, with Vujovic and Buzelis and White and Giddey and Collins and Herter. I mean, that team's a really deep team. And I give the Bucks credit here. I assume the Bucks are going to be fine, but the total sits around 227.5. 79% is on the over. I'm going to take the under here. I think what makes sense with Charlotte coming off back-to-back wins, I think the Bucks are going to lock down on defense. By the way, this is the smallest total that these Hornets have faced at least in the last 10 games. So it's a very low total. When the Bucks do well, they play great defense. Craig, the Phoenix Suns here, 10.5-point chalk against Washington. Washington is an incredibly hit-or-miss team. These two teams have not played this year. Phoenix coming off 3 straight wins here, beating the Lakers and the Pelicans in back-to-back games. Then Washington rolls in here, having won back-to-back games against Toronto and Memphis. So you have an 18-13 team facing a 7-23 team here. They haven't met. Washington is playing well. At the same time, Phoenix is playing well. Phoenix does have the Cavs on deck. Who do you like?
Yeah, I mean, the big news is they won yesterday, Washington. Beat a Memphis team that had been playing pretty well, and they won 116-112. So that's a big win. Washington doesn't play till New Year's Eve after this. They have a day off. They play the Bucks at Milwaukee. But I think the Bucks will this Washington team will get up to play this game. I mean, Phoenix, they have been playing great. They've covered 5 in a row, won 3 straight games. But I just think on the road, this is a huge letdown spot. You're like, oh, Washington played last night. We could just roll it out there and win. That's always trouble in the NBA when we think that, and fans think that, and you have to get out of your mind when you think it as a handicapper. We're going to take the big points here, 10.5 at home with Washington. They've been hot, like you said, against the spread. I think they keep it going tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all the great content we have here at Doc Sports. Orlando at Toronto. Orlando's favored by 1, total 222.5. Orlando, both these teams, I thought, a month ago, we were like, man, these two teams are going to be fighting for top 3 or 4 spots in the East. That has not happened. Both of them have not been good lately. Orlando 5-5 in their last 10. Toronto just 4-6. Somebody's got to win. What do you like here? Toronto did beat Golden State today, so they are in a back-to-back spot, FYI.
Coming in off of a win, and Toronto coming in off of a win as well. These two teams have not met this year, but Toronto has beaten them the last 3 times. What I will tell you is I like the fact that Toronto comes off such a big win against Golden State, but it wasn't too long ago that Toronto lost against Washington and lost against Brooklyn as well, right? And then you have Orlando coming off a monster win against Denver, and they had won against Portland recently. They won against Utah. And this is a team that if you take a look at that Denver game, you have an Orlando team that had 38 from Black, which is just incredible. 7-11 from three-point land, 12 from Banchero, 24 from Bain, 18 from Carter, 17 from De Silva. That was a really great effort by this team. They played really well. And Toronto, I just don't trust Toronto coming off such a huge win in their last contest. I will tell you this, though. They had about 8 guys in double digits, and that was really impressive. But I'm going to take the Magic here. I like Orlando here, -1. I think they're going to be fine. I think Toronto's going to be, I don't think they're going to play as well coming off such a huge win. I'm going to take Orlando. Craig, the Golden State Warriors now minus 4-point chalk here against Brooklyn. This is the biggest public play tomorrow. Obviously, Steph went 12 for 30 in last game against Toronto for 39 points, but he just couldn't get it done. Jimmy Butler went 19 points. Green went 21. And now they're playing a Nets team here. Even that's with even 28 free throws. They gave him 28 free throws, and Toronto had 18 free throws. Brooklyn is not a bad team at all, dude. Brooklyn beat Minnesota recently on the road. They beat Philadelphia. They beat Toronto. They beat Milwaukee. Brooklyn is quietly 10-19. I'm telling you, if they continue to play well, they might find themselves in the playoffs. Cam Thomas is back. He came off the bench last game only for 20 minutes. And guess what? In 20 minutes, he scored 30 points. Okay. So, you have obviously, you have Seth who's out and Melton who's out. Brooklyn continues to find a little bit of health here. They only have Highsmith that's out in this game. Who do you like here? Do you like the Nets plus the 4, or do you like Golden State to bounce back?
Well, Golden State fooled me yesterday. I'm not falling for it again. It's basically the same line. It was 4.5 yesterday. They were up going into the late in that fourth quarter, and they just couldn't put Toronto away. And then in overtime, they did nothing. Golden State now in a back-to-back versus a rested Nets team. Like you said, Nets have won 3 in a row. Don't look now. Not only won 3 in a row, covered 5 in a row. I mean, this is a Nets team that's just not giving up. I'm taking the Nets here. Remember, Golden State on the road this year, not very good. 6-12 straight up. And that doesn't even include they had to give points a lot of these games. Give me Brooklyn Nets plus 4. We can even lose and still cover here. I think Brooklyn Nets gets it done plus 4. Next game, Nuggets at the Miami Heat. Of course, Nuggets favored in this one, minus 2.5 total, 245. The Nuggets, it's all about their offense. I mean, they're the number 1 ranked offensive team. Can they find enough defense? If they do, they pretty much win every game. They could not do that against Orlando late in that one. What do you like here?
Miami, their last contest against Indiana, they beat Atlanta, and they beat my Hawks. They beat Indiana. That's the first time they've won back-to-back games in a while. Adebayo did not play in that game, and neither did Hero. But interestingly enough, they're both listed as day-to-day when it comes into this contest. So then you have a Miami team that outscored them 44-22 in the fourth quarter against Indiana. It was a spectacular effort. Looks like Adebayo and Hero will play this game. Denver, of course, comes off a loss to Orlando, 126-127. Denver does not lose back-to-back games. The last time Denver lost back-to-back games, you have to go back to late January. You have to go back to last season. They have yet to lose back-to-back games this season. But this is going to be a tricky game. Especially with Adebayo and Hero coming back here. It's a tough game, man. But I'll tell you this. After Denver gave up 127 to Orlando and they 138 to Minnesota, and after Miami scoring 142 in their last game and 126 against Atlanta, I was really curious to see what the total was going to be. And the total comes in at 245. I'm like, holy smokes. This is a hard game. But I'm probably going to – and keep in mind that Denver beat them the last 8 times that they've played each other as well. It's difficult. But I got to tell you, I don't think Denver is as playing well as they have been lately. I mean, they are 22-9, but they're also 3-3 in their last 6 games. They lost to Houston, they lost to Dallas, and they lost to Orlando. I'm going to take Miami for the upset here, Craig, plus the 2.5 or plus the 3 by game time. As it relates to New York here against the Pelicans, New York is minus 9-point chalk on the road. New York did not play them this year. They beat them 104-93 last year. Obviously, they're 23-9 and they're NBA Cup final champions. The NBA Cup champions, New York Knicks. I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is happy. The Knicks coming in off of beating my Hawks and the Cavs, back-to-back nice wins. The Pelicans are not winning, but they have been covering this year. They're 18-13, but they have lost their last 3 in a row, losing to the Cavs and losing to the Suns in back-to-back game. And they were small chalk in both those games, plus 5 and plus 4.5. And they lost. What do you like, Craig?
Yeah, when you look at the New York Knicks, when they're at home, one of the best, not just straight up, but against the spread, they've been great this year. On the road, I mean, they're not that great. They're 6-7, so not even 500 straight up, and 3-10 against the spread. And you're facing a Pelicans team that had been doing pretty well. Then they played the Suns in a back-to-back situation with a day in between, and they should have won the first one. They missed 17 free throws, 25 of 42. Cost them that game. They were down 1 or up 1, I think, with like a minute and a half to go, and they still don't even cover that game. I think we're getting extra because of those last 2 games. I like the way they match up with the smaller Knicks team. I think New Orleans can keep this close. Give me the 9 points with the Pelicans. Next game, Minnesota Timberwolves at Chicago Bulls. The Bulls kind of got the okie doke as, no one thought Giannis was going to play. Then he came and played, and then he was good. And then Giannis hits the windmill dunk when he probably should have just dribbled it out. And they got upset, wanted to fight him. But win on the court, as they say. Minnesota's favored by 5.5, coming off an ugly loss. Can they get the win here? Total 239.5.
Minnesota's lost back-to-back games coming in. They lost to the Nets. They lost to the Nuggets 107 to 123 and 138 to 142. So you're going to have two really motivated teams coming in here. I mean, the Nets shot 55% from the field. Minnesota didn't shoot that bad at all. They just, I think that if they had to point at one thing, it would be to the fact that, Brooklyn shot 55% from the field. What are you going to do, And Brooklyn also had a ton of guys off the bench that scored. They had so much more bench scoring points. They had Sharp and Wolf with 10 and 11 points. They had, of course, Cam Thomas coming off the bench with 30. This is a tough game here for Minnesota. They're coming off back-to-back losses, but they face the Bulls here, a team who's furious coming off that loss to the Bucks. Prior to that, the Bulls had won 5 in a row very quietly. So I think what happens here, though, with Minnesota coming off of back-to-back losses, Minnesota does not lose 3 in a row typically, especially with Anthony Edwards healthy, right? The last time they did that was late November, and he wasn't fully healthy back then. I'm going to take these. I know the Bulls are coming off of a frustrating loss, but the Bulls almost lost to my Hawks, so I don't give them a lot of credit. I'm going to take Minnesota here minus the 5.5 here against Chicago. Craig, the Atlanta Hawks here are a 15.5-point dog to the Oklahoma City Thunder. My Hawks have been sort of a mess ever since Trae Young came back, and everybody kind of knows that. Atlanta, of course, coming off of a loss once again to the Knicks. They've had a lot of tight losses lately, but ever since Trae came back, they've lost 6 in a row. Oklahoma City, of course, comes off a nice win against Philadelphia. They had back-to-back losses, and then, of course, they covered the big 17.5-point line recently. Who do you like here? Do you like Oklahoma City minus the 15.5? This is also one of the biggest public plays on the board tomorrow.
Well, remember, this was yesterday, this Oklahoma City team, but it was early. It was an early game yesterday, so it wasn't like a 8 o'clock game, and then you have basically a 24-hour turnaround. So they do get a full 24 hours. They did use a ton of their bench because they're super deep, and it was never a stressed out game. Like we called it yesterday. We said Oklahoma City was going to get mad and get even with, obviously it wasn't Spurs, but they got even with the next opponent. I think there's no letdown here. And like you said, I just don't know what this Atlanta Hawks team is. I think they'd like to set down Trae Young, but it's like you can't pay this guy what you pay him and then set him down, because then it's like, how do you trade him? There's no trade value. You really need him to play well so you get more trade value. I think that spells big trouble. I like Oklahoma City back-to-back. I think they're going to win and win big again. I think this is a 20-plus point win. I think there's better games on the board. I don't like laying this big a number, but I just don't think I don't know how you get around it.
How's it? Sign up for our free $60 of the premium selections, which is docsports.com/ICCT. You get free $60 of the premium selection so you can try us out. It's the best way to kind of thank us for all the hard work that we do, along with liking and subscribing and joining on YouTube Premium.
Next game, Pacers and the Rockets. Rockets favored by 14, total of 222 in this one. And, Houston, I think they're the top 3 team in the league. And they played yesterday. They won 117 to 100 against a pretty good Cleveland Cavaliers team. The question is, do they have a letdown? Because they don't have a letdown, I think they win. It's just a matter of do they cover. What do you like here? Total 221.5 with Houston favored by 14.5.
Yeah, I mean, look, Indiana beat them 115 to 102 last time, and these two teams haven't met this year. Indiana, of course, comes off of a loss to Miami. They haven't covered 3 in a row. They lost to Miami, Boston, and Milwaukee. But back-to-back ugly losses by at least 18 points is not a good thing. Indiana has now lost 8 in a row coming in as well. All of that is ugly. Houston, of course, comes off a nice win against the Cavs and a nice win against the Lakers. And, of course, they did lose to this team 115-102 last time. Ime Udoka does not really like the Pacers, given his time with the Celtics as well. So he'll get up for that game alone, too. But, keep in mind that Indiana comes off 2 ugly back-to-back losses. So that's going to motivate this team to play somewhat pretty well. It reminds me of the Nets when they recently came off ugly back-to-back losses, and they came through in that contest against Minnesota. And, of course, I talked about the Blazers, how they were going to do against the Celtics. And, of course, I went ahead and I chose Memphis today rather than that contest. But I think what I like about this game is, with Houston coming off back-to-back wins and Indiana really needing to do well. When Indiana does well in contests, take a closer look. They have a tendency to play great defense, such as beating Sacramento and beating the Bulls their last 2 wins. And both those games went under. They went under 225 and under 221. I'm going to take the under between these two teams. And Houston, keep in mind, gave up 96 and 100 points in their back-to-back games as well. It makes sense to me to take the under 222 between Indiana and Houston. All right, Craig, let's get to the game that many wanted to know about, Cavs versus the Spurs. Cavs 4.5-point dog here against San Antonio. A bit of a surprise that they're not a bigger dog. These days, the Spurs lines are big, and so are Oklahoma City. The Cavs, by the way, have won this game or the last 6 times. One of the reasons the Cavs might not be a big dog is that they lost to Houston and New York, so the motivation is going to be there now. If they're going to come true, I don't know. But they are pretty healthy. Mitchell is healthy. Spurs are off of a loss here. They lost to Utah by 13 points. That should motivate them, one would have to think. When you take a look at the Spurs, injury report-wise, Fox is listed as day-to-day at this point, but that's about it. Who do you like here in this game?
Yeah, you give them a little bit of Fox didn't play against Utah, and it was kind of last minute, so I kind of think it threw them off. It shouldn't have mattered because this team's too talented to lose to a team like the Jazz. But I do think that motivates him here. I don't know if Fox is going to play this game. I kind of feel like he won't. But it hasn't mattered. They started the season without him and did really well. I think Cleveland's just overrated. This is the worst team. If you bet them every game Cleveland, you're the worst. They're 9-24 against the spread this year. Yeah, you heard that. They basically win 1 out of every 4 or every 3 games. Against the spread. It's actually a little less. So to me, no way I'm going to lay that. I'm going to take the Spurs here in a big bounce back spot. They didn't play well last game. And I think Spurs, they're 8-2 their last 10 games for a reason. They play great defense. They rebound the ball well. And they're pretty efficient on the offensive end. And I even with De'Aaron Fox, maybe questionable, maybe not even there, I think the Spurs get it done -4.5. Last game, Dallas Mavericks at the Portland Trail Blazers. Blazers favored by 1.5, total 236. Of course, Anthony Davis looks to be out again. Another injury on Christmas Day. Just can't stay healthy. And it's too bad because Dallas was starting to play well. Can Dallas stay in this game without Anthony Davis? What do you think?
Well, Portland's, just beat the Celtics. And that was a game where, we called on our daily video. And I was pretty high on Portland last night, and they got it done. After 3 straight losses, they put it together for a big win, and they had beaten the Warriors prior to that. And the Mavericks, of course, lost to the Kings and lost to Golden State back-to-back games. That Kings game is interesting because Gafford, Flagg, Washington, Christie, Nembhard, Marshall, and Thompson, that's just not a lineup that's going to get it done, in this league especially. And Portland's a feisty little team. I mean, they beat Boston. If you take a look at that game, wouldn't you want to have Portland's lineup coming into this game? I mean, they had Klingon, Kamara, Murray, Abdija, Sharp, Love, so they had about, 6 guys that did quite well coming into that game. But I think there's a sense of urgency. I just don't trust Portland off of a big win either, so keep that in mind. I know they played Detroit, Orlando, and the Clippers, and that's a pretty tough gauntlet lately. Dallas, of course, had lost back-to-back games, but I think the motivation is going to be there for them to do well. When they beat Denver, for example, Anthony Davis, he played in that game, but he just makes such a huge difference, and he's now listed as day-to-day, so we don't know if he's going to play tomorrow or not.
I don't think he's playing, though, the news I heard.
But, you just don't know with these guys, man. It's the last game on the board, too, at 236, but I don't trust Portland off that huge win. I will tell you that these two teams last played each other. Dallas did beat them, 138-133, November 16th. I don't know, man. It's a tough game. It's the last game on the board. I will tell you this. If Anthony Davis doesn't play and all my chips, everything was on the line, who would I take? I'd take the Blazers on the money line. But a very small lean on the Blazers on the money line, but nothing hardcore.
I like the Blazers, too. So double up on the Blazers. I don't think Anthony Davis is playing everything I read. Now, don't forget, if you want to get on all of our plays, very simple, especially the football plays. This is what we're going to talk about. We both have 7-unit plays for Monday, so make sure you get in for the Monday Night Football game. He has a side. I have the total 2-for-1 football pass, just $99. So it's $30 each if you buy those individually. So it's just $60 for the next $39. You get all the plays. We have bowl games Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we're going to have playoffs Thursday and Friday. So make sure you get in on or Wednesday and Thursday, I believe that is. So either way, you get all the football plays through next Wednesday if you use this $99.